Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that everything you've ever dreamed of, every ambition, every wild impossible goal is not only within reach, but already waiting for you, waiting patiently just beyond the limits of your comfort zone. The only thing standing between you and that greatness is the decision to begin. You see, life doesn't hand out greatness like party favor. It offers it to those who dare to believe that their current circumstances do not define their ultimate potential. To those who understand that success isn't reserved for the lucky, the wealthy, or the exceptionally talented, it's carved by those who simply refuse to quit. Every single one of us is born with greatness inside. It's not something we acquire, it's something we uncover. Like a seed planted deep in the earth, it only grows when nourished by effort, persistence, and belief. And belief, real unshakable belief, is where the journey begins. Think about this. If you knew you could not fail, what would you attempt? What dream would you chase with reckless abandon? That vision you just imagined, that's the real you, the one not shackled by fear, not limited by doubt. And the difference between that vision and your current reality is simply action. Greatness requires more than talent. It demands responsibility, responsibility for your attitude, your choices, your reactions. You can't change the world around you until you take full ownership of the world within you. The moment you stop blaming your circumstances and start taking charge of your life, the path to greatness begins to reveal itself. Yes, the road is hard. Yes, there will be failures, spectacular, painful failures, but failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every setback, every disappointment, every no brings you closer to the moment when you finally break through. The only real failure is quitting. The only real mistake is never starting. You don't need anyone's permission to be great. You don't need the perfect conditions, the perfect timing, or the perfect plan. All you need is the willingness to show up every day, do the work, and keep going. And every time you do that, every time you choose courage over comfort, discipline over distraction, purpose over procrastination, you step closer to the life you were born to live. You were not meant to live a life of quiet regret. You were meant to shine, to lead, to inspire. So don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait for someone else to believe in you. Be bold enough to believe in yourself. Decide right now that greatness is not just possible, it's inevitable if you're willing to claim it. Because the truth is simple. You are the only one who can hold you back. And you are the only one who can set yourself free. So get up, start, keep going, and never forget the world needs the greatness only you can give. Go give it. There's something powerful, something almost electric about realizing that greatness isn't something out there in the distance. It's not locked away in some hidden vault, only accessible to the lucky few. No, it's already inside you. It has been there since the beginning. It's not a question of if you're capable, it's a question of when you'll decide to access it. You weren't born to be ordinary. You weren't designed to just survive, pay bills, and fade into the background. You were built to rise, to contribute, to leave a mark. But the world doesn't hand you that truth on a silver platter. Most of the time you have to dig deep to discover it for yourself. That's the catch. Greatness doesn't shout, it whispers. And you have to get quiet enough, intentional enough to hear it. Too often we look at people we admire and assume they were just born different, born special. But here's the truth. The only real difference between someone who achieves greatness and is the belief that it's possible. The ones who rise are the ones who believe they can, not because they have all the answers, not because they never fall, but because they trust that no matter what happens, they'll keep rising. What's stopping most people isn't lack of talent. It's a story they keep telling themselves about what they can't do. But once you change that story, once you start feeding your mind with thoughts that empower you rather than limit you, everything begins to shift. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're worthy of greatness. You just need to decide that the version of yourself you've been playing small for is done hiding. That power, that fire, that potential. It's not in some future version of you. It's in you right now. Not after you get the degree, not after you lose the weight, not after someone finally says you're good enough. You are good enough right now. The greatness lives in your decisions, your resilience, your refusal to settle. So start showing up for yourself like someone who knows what they're made of. You don't have to become someone else to be great. You just have to become more of who you really are. That's the secret. Greatness isn't something you chase, it's something you unleash. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. Everything begins with belief, not just casual hope or wishful thinking, but deep, unwavering belief, the kind that doesn't waver when life gets hard or when others doubt you, because here's the reality. No one ever achieved greatness by accident. They did it because they believed it was possible even before they had a single reason to. They believed when the evidence was missing, when the odds looked impossible, when they were surrounded by people who couldn't see what they saw. That belief became the fuel. Your mind is the starting line of every achievement. If you can't see yourself doing it in your mind, you'll never see it in your life. What you believe sets the limits on what you're willing to attempt. And what you're willing to attempt shapes everything about your future. Most people wait for proof before they believe, but the truth is belief creates the proof. It shapes your focus, your actions, your energy, your commitment. And when all of that aligns, the results begin to follow. But here's the thing, belief isn't something you find lying around waiting to be picked up. It's something you build. You build it by showing up for yourself even when it's hard. You build it every time you choose to keep going instead of giving up. You build it by refusing to let fear have the final word. And every time you follow through on a promise you make to yourself, every single time you become someone who believes a little more. There will always be voices, external and internal, telling you why you can't. But greatness isn't achieved by listening to those voices. It's achieved by creating your own. The voice inside that says, I may not have it all figured out, but I know I'm capable, I know I'm worthy, and I'm not stopping until I get there. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. You don't need someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, now's your time. The moment you decide that you are enough, that your dream is valid, and that your life is worth fighting for, that's when everything changes. That's when belief stops being a word and starts becoming a way of life. Believe not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because greatness doesn't wait for certainty, it waits for conviction. Nothing in your life will change until you do something. Action is the bridge that takes you from where you are to where you want to be. It doesn't matter how powerful your dreams are, how clear your vision is, or how deep your belief runs. If you don't move, nothing moves. The world responds not to what you think or feel, but to what you do. Too many people are waiting for the right time, waiting for more confidence, waiting for someone to tell them they're ready. But here's the truth that most people never hear. You'll never feel completely ready. And you don't have to be. Progress doesn't demand perfection, it demands movement. The very act of taking a step forward, even a small one, creates momentum. And momentum is what turns invisible dreams into visible realities. Think of it like this. Every great success story you've ever heard began with one simple decision: to begin. That's it. Not to have it all figured out, not to know the whole path, just to start. Action is what separates the people who live their dreams from the people who just talk about them. It's what transforms an idea into a goal and a goal into a result. When you take action, you send a message to yourself and to the world that you are serious, that you are committed, that you are no longer content with standing still while your potential goes unused. Every step you take builds not only progress, but power. Power over your doubts, power over procrastination, power over the fear that once paralyzed you. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's messy, action is the ultimate declaration of belief. You're saying, I trust myself enough to try. I trust this dream enough to fight for it. And every time you show up, you get better, you get braver, you get closer. You don't have to know the entire staircase, just take the first step. Do what you can with what you have, where you are, and then do it again. Consistency compounds, effort stacks, and before you know it, you're standing in a life you once only imagined. So stop waiting. The time will never be perfect, but you can decide to be powerful. The smallest action toward your dream is more valuable than the grandest intention left undone. Start now, start messy, start afraid, but start, because greatness is never handed out. It's earned step by step through bold, consistent, courageous action. There comes a point in life when you have to stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward for power. Because the moment you decide to take full responsibility for your life, your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your reactions, that's the moment everything begins to change. That's the spark that ignites greatness. It's easy to point fingers, easy to blame the economy, the past, the people who didn't believe in you, the chances you never got. But here's the truth, blaming the outside world only gives away your power. You can't control the cards you were dealt, but you can control how you play them. You can choose your response to every situation, and in that choice lies your freedom. Responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up when things go wrong. It means owning your ability to rise. It means refusing to be a victim of your circumstances and instead becoming the architect of your future. The truth is, no one's coming to save you. No one's going to knock on your door and hand you the life of your dreams. That's your job. That's your mission, and it starts with saying, no more excuses, I'm in charge now. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting and you start creating, you begin to shift from reacting to life to designing it. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I learn? How can I grow? What can I do differently next time? That's the mindset of greatness. That's the mindset that transforms obstacles into lessons, setbacks into comebacks, and breakdowns into breakthroughs. It's not about controlling everything, it's about mastering what you can't control. Your mindset, your attitude, your effort, your decisions. And when you begin to take full ownership of those, your confidence grows, your influence grows, your results follow. You were never meant to live on autopilot. You were meant to lead your life with intention, with power, with direction. So step into that role. Stop waiting for permission. Stop letting your past write the script for your future. Greatness isn't handed to those who hope. It's earned by those who own their journey. When you embrace responsibility, you unlock your ability to shape your destiny. And in that moment, you don't just move toward greatness, you become it. Let's get one thing straight. Failure is not the enemy. It never was. Failure is not a sign that you're not good enough or that your dream is too big. Failure is feedback, it's guidance, it's the universe pointing you toward what needs to grow within you so that you're ready for what you've asked for. And here's the truth, most people never realize. Every person who has achieved greatness has walked through failure, not around it. You don't get to the top without falling down. You don't discover your strength without being tested, and you don't find your courage without first facing fear. Failure is part of the process. It's not a detour, it's the path. What separates those who win from those who quit is not talent, luck, or timing. It's the willingness to fail forward, to fall and get back up again, to use every mistake as a stepping stone instead of a stopping point. When you shift your mindset from what if I failed to what will I learn, you change the game. You stop being afraid of failure and you start using it, because every failure carries with it a seed of growth, a piece of wisdom you couldn't have gained any other way. And once you realize that, you stop taking failure personally. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of your growth. The fear of failure paralyzes so many people. They wait, they hesitate, they talk themselves out of trying. But the real failure is never trying at all. The real failure is letting fear rob you of your potential. Greatness demands that you stop playing it safe, that you stop hiding behind what's comfortable and start chasing what sets your soul on fire, even if it means stumbling along the way. Because stumbling doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're moving. And every time you get up, you rise stronger, wiser, more resilient. Every champion was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every success story is built on chapters of struggle that no one sees, but they matter. They build character, they build grit, they build the version of you that's capable of holding your dream when it arrives. So embrace failure. Let it teach you, not break you. Let it refine you, not define you. Your failures are not the opposite of greatness. They are the very foundation of it. Keep failing, keep rising, keep learning. That's how you build a life that doesn't just look impressive on the outside, but feels unstoppable on the inside. Too many people are waiting to be perfect before they begin. They think they need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect version of themselves to take action. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it is the fastest way to waste your potential. Greatness doesn't require perfection. It requires consistency. Showing up again and again, even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when the results aren't showing up yet. That's where greatness is born. Not in the flashes of brilliance, but in the quiet, disciplined commitment to keep going. Consistency might not be glamorous, but it is powerful. It's what builds habits, strengthens discipline, and compounds results. Think of it like this. One drop of water doesn't shape a rock, but a steady stream does. One workout won't transform your body, but a daily habit will. One brave moment won't create a legacy, but a series of them, stacked, repeated, and refined, can build a life that inspires others long after you're gone. The people we admire most aren't the ones who only acted when it was easy. They're the ones who kept showing up when it was hard, when no one was clapping, when the progress was slow, when the dream felt far. They stayed consistent not because they were always motivated, but because they were committed. That's the secret. Motivation gets you started, but consistency keeps you going. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you show up for your goals, you reinforce your identity. You're telling yourself, this is who I am now. I am the kind of person who follows through, who keeps promises to themselves, who does the work even when it's not convenient. That's not just about achieving something, that's about becoming someone. So don't fall into the trap of waiting to be perfect. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Your job isn't to be flawless, it's to be faithful. Faithful to the process, faithful to the vision, faithful to the version of you that refuses to give up. Because in the end, greatness doesn't show up in one giant leap. It shows up in the hundreds of small, quiet steps no one sees. The ones you take when you could have quit, but didn't. When you could have made an excuse, but chose progress instead. Consistency compounds, effort multiplies. And the day will come when all those small actions have added up to something extraordinary. So keep showing up, keep doing the work. That's how greatness is built, one powerful, consistent step at a time. One of the biggest lies we've been taught is that we need someone else's permission to go after what we want. We've been conditioned to believe we have to wait to be chosen, approved, validated. But the truth is, you don't need permission to be great. You don't need to wait for someone to tell you you're ready. You don't need anyone to crown you before you claim the life that was meant for you. You were not born to sit on the sidelines of your own life waiting for a green light. The green light is already inside you. You don't need a title, a certificate, or a round of applause to start moving toward your vision. The only approval you'll ever need is your own. And the moment you stop looking outside for what only you can give yourself, that's when everything begins to shift. Too many dreams are buried under the weight of hesitation, people waiting for the perfect time, the perfect confidence, the perfect sign. But here's the reality, there is no perfect moment. There's only now. And if you don't give yourself permission to rise, to create, to speak, to lead, then no one else will. That's not because they don't believe in you. It's because you have to believe in you first. You have to say, this is my time, this is my choice, this is my life. You have something inside you that no one else can offer the world. A voice, a story, a way of seeing things that is entirely your own. And if you keep waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to share it, you might wait your entire life. Greatness isn't about being given a stage, it's about building one. It's about stepping forward even when your voice shakes, even when your knees tremble. Because deep down, you know you are made for more. You don't have to be fearless, you just have to be willing to take the first step, willing to risk judgment, willing to act while others hesitate. That's what separates the few who live their truth from the many who keep it locked inside. So decide today that you are no longer waiting, no longer shrinking, no longer asking for permission to be who you are. Own your vision, own your value, own your power, because the life you want won't show up when someone says you deserve it. It shows up when you decide you do. Greatness begins the moment you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want you to truly understand something important. Greatness isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's not something that's handed to a select few. It's something you build step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment. It's found in the everyday decisions that no one sees, in the quiet persistence when no one is clapping, in the courage to rise every time life knocks you down. You have within you everything you need to achieve greatness. You have the power to shape your future, to define your success, and to live a life that reflects the full potential of who you are. And the only thing standing between you and the greatness you're capable of is the decision to start. The moment you choose to believe that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that your dreams matter, that's when the transformation begins. Remember, greatness doesn't wait for the perfect time. It doesn't wait for the conditions to be just right or for everything to fall into place. It begins right where you are, with what you have and the determination to make it happen. You don't need anyone's approval to pursue your dreams. You don't need to be perfect. You simply need to be willing to take action, willing to keep going, and willing to fail forward. Along the way, you'll encounter obstacles. There'll be moments when the path seems unclear, when the road feels too long, when the doubt creeps in. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments that separate the dreamers from the doers, the ones who talk about greatness from the ones who actually create it. So commit today, commit to the journey, commit to showing up for yourself no matter the obstacles, commit to taking action no matter how small it may seem, because with every step you take, no matter how imperfect, you are getting closer to the life you desire. Greatness is not something that happens by accident. It is earned through consistent effort, unwavering belief, and the courage to keep going no matter what. And if you commit to that journey, to embracing every part of the process, you'll not only achieve greatness, you'll become it. You have everything you need to make your mark. Now, all that's left is to step forward. So take that first step. Take the leap. Greatness is waiting for you, and it's been waiting for you all along.